That is all we're going to discuss today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk today about scheduling. That is all we're going to discuss today. Someone in the comments requested a video about scheduling, and I thought I touched on it before, but I just probably threw it in one of my videos. I didn't do a dedicated video, and like I told y'all a few videos back before, I don't really want to necessarily teach y'all how to be a flight attendant, but I'm here to give tips, tricks, you know, ways to navigate the flight attendant space. And if there's any other information that I feel like could be important or good or helpful for you guys new coming in to know, I'm definitely here to share. Or if there's anything specific that y'all request, I'm here to do that as well. But today we're going to talk strictly about the flight attendant schedule. So again, y'all know how I do during my talk through videos. I write stuff down in my notes, and so I just want to let y'all know if y'all see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my phone, and as you can see, I'm on a layover. So this is my hotel room that I'm in right now, but this is our EFB. It's our electric flight attendant something. I don't know what it stands. I can't remember what it stands for. I might be wrong about that. If somebody knows, comment below. But this is basically like our Bible. Like, this is what we live by. This has our contract in it. It has our like flight attendant manual in it. So we cannot fly without this. We're not allowed to fly with it. If you fly without it, you can get in trouble. So we take this everywhere it goes, and it has all of our information in it. It's just an iPhone that they give everyone. So I'll be using this as well because this has the contract in it, and I want to read directly from the contract. I don't want to make up anything, so that's why I pulled this out, because I want to be able to tell y'all word for word, verbatim, what is in our contract when it comes to scheduling. Our contract is public. So if you know who I work for, you can Google it and you'll be able to pull it up. Any other airlines, the contracts are public. You can go look. I believe, I want to say they're on, ours might be on the AFA website, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I'll check my facts, and if I find it, I'll put it and link it in the description for y'all, so y'all can go look at it. So if I see it, if I find it, I'll make sure I link it and let y'all know I did so. So when you work as a flight attendant, the whole company is ran on seniority. So you bid seniority. How you work is your seniority. Like, what schedule you get is based on seniority. If you can get days off, it's based on seniority. Everything is based on seniority. So we bid every month, once a month, I believe. For first come, we have something called first come, first serve, which is like the reserves. They bid on the 25th of the month. And I want to say, as a line holder, we bid on the we bid on like the 15th or something like that. And then, yeah, that's the whole thing. So line holders bid seniority bidding, which is line holders, bid at a certain time, and first come, first serve, which is reserved, bid at a certain time. We have something called short call. Short call is a type of reserve that you can be on as a flight attendant. We have 3 types. So it's short call, long call, which is the 2 reserve systems. Hot reserve is another reserve system. And then you have a line. So 4, I guess, type of scheduling situations that we have here. So let me find my short call definition. So for short call, a flight attendant on short call is someone with a call out of 2 hours. So that basically means that the company has to give you 2 hours to report when you are on short call. So, and you can't sit, from our contract, you can't be on short call no longer than 14 hours. So at our company, there's 2 different short call periods during the day. So there's a 5 a.m. and a 10 a.m. I always did the 10 a.m. because I felt like we got used less. In my opinion, I got used less, and I just didn't want to do a 5 a.m. short call because I commute. So I still drive into work, which is 2 hours away. So I needed 10 a.m. so it would give me time to get up and time to prepare, and you know, they wouldn't be calling me so early. So, and I rarely got called right at 10. Like normally if I got called, it would be like 12, 1. It would be later in the afternoon. But so I just always tried to be dressed and prepare so that I can leave if they did call me to report to the airport. Again, short call is, they have to give you 2 hours, and the period will be that you're on short call is no longer than 14. And short call, you can sit at home. So I'm on call from home, so it starts at 10 a.m. and then if they didn't use me at all, I wouldn't be done until 12 a.m. that night. So that's how short call works. And we have hot reserve, which is ready reserve, airport standby, basically the same thing. When you sit at the airport and you basically are waiting to be used. So if I'm on short call, they could call me at like 12 and be like, okay, we need you to report at 2 p.m. for hot reserve, and then you will stay for the rest of the day. And I believe our hot reserve can be no longer than 8 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't pull that up. But again, you can check our contract and you can fact check me. I haven't been on hot reserve in a while. Thank you, Jesus. But so that's why I really can't remember. But I believe you can't be on hot reserve no more than 8 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes there were times where I sat hot reserve and I never got used and I had to go back home. So it just all depends. Next is, after short call, there's long call. Long call is what I had a few months ago, and I was telling y'all I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. So long call is a 14 or 12 hour call out. So long call is a 12-hour call out, and they have to basically mean they have to give you 12 hours to report to the airport. So most of the time for long call, they go ahead and schedule you like way in advance so that you know your schedule, kind of like having a line, but it's still reserved because you don't necessarily get to pick the schedule that you want. And I was used nonstop on long call. I feel like on short call, especially if you're a senior, you tend to get used less. And to me, short call is a little bit more flexible, even though they kind of can do what they want, but it still can be pretty rough as well. Just like long call, you can get used a lot, but I feel like you get used less on short call, because on long call they use you first because you're basically a line holder with long call, because they have to give you 12 hours ahead. So they use long call first, and then they dip into the the short call bucket. So there's a long call bucket, so there may be like, I don't know how many people get it, but there's a bucket for that, and then there's a bucket for short call. But both these are systems where you could sit at home. Technically they're reserve systems. So although they, I've never sat at home on long call, I always got used, but short call, you sit home and wait to be called. I hope y'all are understanding what I'm saying and I'm explaining this well. I'm gonna try to do my best. Okay, so I talked about short call, we talked about high reserve, I talked about long call, and I now want to tell about having a line. So basically, when you have a line, you have a set schedule. Every month, like I said, you bid for a schedule. Even if you don't have a line, you bid for a schedule. Whether it's your short call schedule, your long call schedule, your line, we have build up lines, you still have to bid. I'll try to pop in a picture of my schedule here so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. Yeah, you regardless if you are on reserve or you have a line, you bid for a schedule every month. But with a line, you have a set schedule, and every month we go in and bid for our lines. So I try to take my time, and I told y'all I'm strategic. I try to go through and take my time and bid for what I want. So like this month, for instance, I tried to get Thanksgiving off. I did not get it. Probably because I'm not that senior that I can't really hold Thanksgiving off with the line, and I don't get first dibs. The more senior people get first picks. So I kind of get the scraps when it comes to a line, honestly. So with the line, you probably may get like 4 or 5 trips already on your schedule. But then you have the opportunity to go in and change those trips out for what you want. Get rid of trips if you can. But like I said, with short call, long call, you can't do that. You only get to do that with the line. So sometimes, and these are all things that they do not tell you or teach you in training. Like I don't even think we talked about scheduling at all in training. I think the only thing they told us was that when we had to bid, like how do we go in the system and bid, and that's it. But they did not tell us about all the ins and outs when it comes to scheduling. Like really, for real, in training, you're only gonna learn about the safety stuff. With the line, like I said, you can swap trips. You can drop your trips. You can do like, sometimes I drop 2 trips for 1, and then it'll give me like 15 days off. And if I see that I have too many days off, I'll go and I'll pick up a trip. One thing I can say and I don't like about our company is that like nobody really picks up trips when you have a line. So like I want to get off for Thanksgiving. If I put that on the trade board, like really, honestly, nobody's gonna pick that up. I don't know. I guess I feel like they make everybody work here because we have a minimum of 60 hours to work every month. Like unless they give us the permission to, we can't drop lower than 60 hours a month. And a lot of people want to work less than that, so they don't pick up trips when you're a line holder. Like even on reserve, you can't pick up anybody reserves days. Sometimes reserves pick up trips, but like nobody really picks up trips over here. So I hope you understand what a line holder is. A line holder has a schedule. They know what they're gonna work ahead of time. They don't really have to be called. They're not on call. They don't get reserved. They don't get hot reserve. None of that. They work the schedule that they set up for themselves or that the company provides for them. And then if they switch, then that's what they work. But after that, they're done. They don't really deal with scheduling like that because they have a schedule already. So the line holder is supposed to technically have more like freedom, flexibility in the company because we get a schedule. I hope you got that. I hope I explained that well. So our trips tend to be as a line holder, what I normally see, I see our trips coming in as 4 days mostly. Sometimes you get 3 days on your schedule, sometimes you get 2 days. But most of the time I work 4 days on, maybe like 2 days off, 3 days off. Sometimes I have 5 days off. It just depends on how you set up your schedule. And that's one thing I really enjoy about being a flight attendant is the flexibility. Most of the time I'm able to get whatever day I want or need off, as long as what we have called our grid. Our grid is green. Each base has a grid where all the flight attendants are basically in the bucket. It goes based off reserves. So if the reserve grid is low, it goes in the red. You can't switch anything. But if it's green, then you are able to switch something because it's enough people to cover if there's any call outs or anything that day. So that can be annoying sometimes, and that's what basically happened with me for Thanksgiving this month. Like the reserve grid is low. It's in the red for Thanksgiving because people are trying to get off, call out and stuff like that. So I really wasn't able to swap out for Thanksgiving for something else. I'll see if I can show y'all. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show that, like the system that we use for trading and swapping. So I may not do that. But I'm definitely gonna pop in a picture of my schedule so y'all can just kind of see how it looks. So I was talking about, what was I talking about? I was talking about the amount of days we normally work. So yeah, We normally work 4 days on, I feel like me, and what I normally see on everybody else's schedule, 4 days on, 2 or 3 days off. But like I said, you can have 5 days off. Sometimes people want to work less hours, so they have like a week to a week and a half off. And I get, like, last month I had work like maybe 4 or 5 days in a row, and then I had like a whole week off. But it just depends on how much you want to work, because you don't have to have that week. Like, you can pick up something during that week if you want to work more hours, if you want to have more hours for the month. But I'm really trying not to burn out with this job. I like what I do, but flying can be really harsh on the body, and honestly I don't like to fly a whole lot if I don't have to. But lately I've been trying to catch up on my bills and pay stuff, and you know, credit cards and this and that, blah, 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 blah. So I've been working a whole lot more than I usually do. And if you go back and watch any of my old vlogs, you'll see, like, I sat home more and short call a lot, and I rarely ever picked up anything. So I really wasn't working a lot when I first started. How to stack days. So we have something within the schedule where you can stack days, and normally you stack days on reserve. I don't recommend stacking days on with AIRLINE, because you're gonna be working non-stop and you're gonna tire yourself out. But on reserve, when I first started, I was staying in a crash pad, and I was trying to figure out, you know, how to work my schedule. And a flight attendant that had been with the company for a while, she was like, oh girl, let me show you how to stack your days. So basically, this way you'll be able to have more time off at the end of each month. And then if you take the beginning of the next month off, you'll have basically a week and a half, 2 weeks, kind of like having AIRLINE. You'll have a whole lot of time off where you can do whatever you want to do. And that's how I used to go to Jamaica so much, because I would stack my days all at the beginning of the month, and then I would have the whole month off. So we have a certain amount of reserve days that we have to work a month, and I want to say it's like 14 days. I know so on reserve you have to get a minimum of 10 days off a month, I believe, but sometimes you can get 11. So what I used to do is I would stack all my off days. I would work, so if you are on reserve, you can move your days up. So you can swap, you can start in a 2-day bucket. You can move days up as the week goes on. So you have to, when you're on reserve, you can only swap days within 48 hours of the next day that you have to work. So I will always do it before the 48-hour period, and I would just stack my days. But I never started out with 6 days. So I would never start out with 6 days in a row. I would start out with 2 days, and then every day move a day up. So then it's like I'm getting rid of days, but I'm not necessarily working 6 days in a row, because if you start your days off in 6 days, they're gonna put you on hot reserve for the first 2 days, and that's what I didn't want to do. And then they were gonna put you on the trip for the rest of that week. So to avoid hot reserve, I used to just start my days off in 2-day buckets, 2-day blocks, and then I will move days up. I don't know if y'all gonna understand what I'm saying, because you can't see it, and I don't have a picture of my old schedule. Like, they got rid of the system we used, so I can't really go back and show you. I don't know, maybe I can show you on paper what it looks like, but I'll try. I don't know, I'll try to see if I can maybe insert a clip of me drawing it out on my phone, and then so that way y'all can understand stacking days. And like with having AIRLINE, normally it's 4 days off, 2 days on. But with on reserve, I would try to every week have a block of 6. So even though I didn't work 6 days, I would still have a block of 6 each week. So then at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I don't have that many days to work, and I could be off. Let me know in the comments if y'all have any questions. If I wasn't clear about anything, maybe I'll come back and clarify some things, get my thoughts together again, and make another video. But let me know how y'all are feeling. If I'm answering your questions, let me know. If not, let me know. If there's anything specifically about scheduling that you want to know, let me know. But I'm trying to touch on everything that I can think of. So I really feel like being on reserve can definitely be more flexible than having a line. And I say this because I have never not gotten what I wanted on reserve. Like any day off I wanted on reserve, I always got it, because I feel like when you are on reserve, like you're only basically competing with people on reserve. I feel like as a line holder, you compete with people. You compete with your schedule that you already have. You competing with line holders and reserve. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like it's harder to get your days because you already have a schedule with a line, and you have a schedule technically too on reserve. But I don't know, I just feel like it's easier too. And this is a secret for anybody that's already working with the company. I'm gonna give y'all the secret that they gave me when I was on reserve. You don't have to wait till first come first serve opens to bid for your reserve schedule. I'm gonna say that again. And if you're new and you're coming in, this can be for you too. You don't have to wait until first come first serve opens to bid for your reserve schedule. So what you can do is, when seniority bidding opens, if you know how you want your schedule to look, and this is why I want to draw it out, if you know how you want to stack your days for the next month that's coming, you can go in and bid on seniority bidding for first come first serve. And then when first come first serves open, you'll get your schedule first, because nobody else probably bidded for their schedule during seniority bidding. So you will automatically get the days that you want. Yes, that's the secret, that's the tip, and I'm telling you, it works, because I used to get my days approved right off the jump every month, and I never really had to compete with nobody because I did mine way in advance. So last but not least, we have something called buddy bidding. Buddy bidding is basically you can only do it with a line, and you can bid to work with a friend. So it could be somebody that you met, it could be one of your classmates that you had during training, anybody you can buddy bid, but you can only do it with a line. Y'all have to work the same schedule, same hours and all that. That can be kind of difficult, because if like I need Thanksgiving off but my friend don't want Thanksgiving off, then you know it's gonna pick the more senior person's schedule and that they want. So y'all have to come to an agreement together, so it's not like, oh, I get something that I didn't want. Like, no, we're doing this together so we can work together at the same time. So I don't really buddy bid, because I want to work when I want to work, and I don't necessarily like pattern my schedule after somebody else's. But there's benefits to buddy bidding. You know who you're working with, you're comfortable with that person, like you don't have to worry about no drama or whatever, like nothing. You just working with your friend. But I feel like buddy bidding gets you a little comfortable. I don't know, I don't like to get too comfortable with people. I like to switch it up. I like the fact that I work with new people every time. I know some people don't like that, but I like it because it made me stay on my toes with the job, because you never know what you're gonna get. There's also so sometimes at the end of the beginning of the bidding period, once everything processed, they have build-up lines. And basically build-up lines is just schedules that they put together and they give them to the more senior people that are like up and coming. So you have to go in and you have to bid for build-up lines too. So you may or you may not get them. It just all depends if they have them available or not, or if you're senior enough to get them. But I hope this video was helpful. I believe I touched on everything. Scheduling can be very confusing and it differs from company to company. So like I said, what I've shared in this video only goes for my company. It's not for all companies. Stuff may be similar, but they're not the same. But I believe I touched on everything. Like I said, it can be difficult to figure out scheduling. You got to figure out what works for you. You're not, especially even though I have a line, I normally work every weekend. Lately, I've been working over the weekends, and especially if the more senior people want the weekends off, I don't normally get weekends off. I like to work during the week, Monday to Friday, but lately I haven't been able to get schedules that's Monday to Friday because that's the schedule that the people, seniority people, bid for. One thing I do like about our company is that, say for instance, I'm Charlotte based, right? But say for instance, if Charlotte doesn't have anything that I want, we can look on the DC open time pod where we pick up trips from. We can check Dallas, Dayton, Philly, all of the other bases. We can check their charts to see whether or not there's trips in their bucket that we want to pick up. But our grid has to be green and their grid has to be green on the same days to be able to switch. And I know one thing I will say too, I'm like spitting. Sorry. One thing I will say too is that when it comes to the grid, like, it can be real, it fluctuates all the time. It's never the same, and it's just always changing. So you just have to keep your eye on it. We do get, so we don't get holidays off, none of that. Like, the aviation is always going, the airport is always open, it doesn't close. So if you're not senior enough, or if you can't swap, if the grid isn't good to where you can get the days off you want, you're gonna work for the holidays. I've been blessed that I haven't worked the holidays in 2 years. That's why I'm not complaining. But if I have to do it this year, I'll just do it. But like, you have to like really kind of fight for the days that you want, especially with the line. So I wanted to mention that we do get something called PED days, and that's basically something you can submit to receive the day off, but your supervisor or scheduling has to approve it, and the grid has to be green for that too. And I believe I haven't really been using my PEDs. I want to say we get like 4 or 5 a year, so you have to use those wisely. Like, I rarely use my PED days. I normally use my PED days if I feel like I'm gonna be in a bind, if I'm traveling and I gotta work the next day. I use a PED day, or like if I know I don't know, my friend is getting married and I wanted to go to her wedding, I'll use a PED for something like that, something where I know I definitely need the day off. But again, you have to approve that stuff when the grid is green, so you can't be last minute, because if it changes to red, they will not approve your day off. The grid has to be in good standing for you to get your days off. We do get sick time, but our sick time is not like a regular job. We get points if we call out sick. You accrue sick time every pay period. I can't remember how many hours we accrue. Let me see if I can look it up really quick. So based on our contract, we accrue 3.5 hours each month, with up to a maximum of 400 hours for sick time. Year 1, you get 1 week of vacation. Year 2, you get 2 weeks. So I get 2 weeks of vacation this year. I already had one. That was when I went to St. Lucia. And then I believe my vacation is at the end December going into January. I can't remember. I have to look that up too. But I believe I have a vacation coming up in December because I only took 1 week. But I don't remember when I scheduled it for. So we do get vacation. But like I said, with sick time, you get points. So you gotta be mindful of how you use that, because if you call out sick too often, you know, the points accumulate and then you'll get called in for me and blah, 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 blah. So it's not like a regular job where you can just use your sick time and call out. I think they do that to try to keep people from calling out, of course. So I don't really see why we have the time if we can't use it. It really doesn't make sense. But you just gotta be smart about how you use your time. Some people don't call sick. I work with people who say they never call out sick, and I'm like, how? But we do have something else called medical leave. It used to be 5 days, but now it's 7. They make you be off for at least 7 days, and you have to have a doctor's note. Doctor's notes do not get you over getting points with sick time. With medical leave, yes. With sick time, no. So you get 7 days medical leave, and then you can come back. And there's no, oh, I'm feeling better now, I want to go back to work after day 3. No, you got to take your whole 7 days. So I think when I first started, a lot of people was using the 5 days, so they upped it to 7 days. Something else that they just altered in our contract without us signing a new contract, which I think is crazy, but it is what it is. I feel like these companies, at the end of the day, they can do what they want when they want, and we can't do nothing about it. But we ain't talking about that. That's another conversation for another video. But yeah, so that's just, I think that's everything. I think I touched on everything. I talked about short call, long call, high reserve, and having a line. But yeah, y'all, this job, I tell y'all, is what you make it. If you need a flexible schedule, you know, this is a good job to have. I like that. That's my favorite part of the job. Like, I love my benefits, y'all, but when I tell you the flexibility of the job is the best part, like, that's the best part. I've never worked a job where I had this much flexibility, and I think if I ever decide to leave, it will be really hard because I'm really spoiled. And I'm telling you, this job, when it comes to flexibility, it can be good. When you can actually get what you want, it's good, but when it's not good, it's not good. But when it's good, it's good, okay? If you know what I mean. But that's all I want to talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me comment below if you guys have any more questions. Even if you don't have a questions, drop some love, drop, you know, an airplane in the video, drop a heart, do something, give me some feedback, like the video, share with somebody else that may be deciding to become a flight attendant. Like I told y'all, I don't necessarily want to teach y'all how to become a flight attendant, but if I feel like there's anything that's important, I'll definitely share with you. So let me know if y'all have any more questions, and I'll try to make sure I get that information out to you. But again, our contract is public, so if you want to go Google it, if you know who I work for, go look it up. Like, I ain't even blink my eye. Go look it up and it'll answer all your questions. You can read through it. We are on the verge of getting a new contract. I don't know when that's gonna happen. They need to hurry up. But you know, we don't know. We're still waiting. So go look through our current contract so you can find out all the information that you want to know about the company. So yeah, once again, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.